All right, everybody, let's get started here. My name is King Brian, this is Monami, and this is the first episode in a series I'm going to be making on how to install my local LLM backend called Tabby API. So, before we get started, I want to explain what an LLM specifically is. An LLM, or large language model, is a way to put text in to a neural network and get text out. It's used in software such as ChatGPT, where you're able to search information, talk to an assistant. Tabby API is simply a way to run this on your computer, completely offline, completely locally. The reason why I made my own software instead of using someone else's is because it uses a super fast backend called Xllama v2, which I'm going to show you guys how to set up. Now, this video aims to be a pretty simple one where it just uses graphical interfaces as opposed to a terminal, so it should be straightforward to follow for the average user. And without further ado, let's get started. The first thing you're going to want to do to get Tabby onto your computer is install a few prerequisites. To do this, I'm going to go into Explorer, right-click and create a new container folder called AI. Now we're going to go into that folder and type in cmd in the URL bar. This will open up a command prompt. Any command that I'll put in here will be in the description with some explanations as to what the command does. We're going to check if the prerequisites are on our computer by running git version and Python version. So we're going to want to first see that Python is greater than 3.10 and Git is installed in the first place. If you don't have these installed, then these commands will just error. Now, one important thing to note is that if these are already installed, skip the next set of commands and move on to the next chapter. The reason why is because reinstalling these programs could mess up some configurations and break any already existing programs you might use. All right, so let's assume you don't have any of these installed. We're going to run winget version just to check if we have the right package manager installed, which we do. This is installed on modern versions of Windows 10 and Windows 11, but let's just say you have an older version of Windows 10. We're going to get winget on your system now. So you're going to want to go to this URL, and you're going to want to scroll down until you find this assets dropdown. Click on the dropdown and click on the M6 bundle, download it and install. Then after that, you're going to want to go back and type in cmd, which will open up the command prompt again. Now winget should work. And now what we're going to want to do is type in this command right here, which will install both Python and Git. Now let's just say you have Git installed, but you don't have Python. So we're going to get rid of this other second half of the command and the and symbols, which just installs Python. But in this case, we're assuming you don't have anything installed, so we're going to just install both of these. Now hit enter. It should run a few install prompts and a few installers, but it might take a little bit. So just go outside, get some fresh air, and come back when it's done. Okay, once those packages have finished installing, we're going to want to close out our terminal, and now we're going to want to get Tabby onto our computer. So to do this, we're going to open out a new command prompt, and we're going to want to type out the following commands here. This is just going to download the repository onto our system, just like that. We're going to want to go back, and you can see that there's a new folder here. You can close out this terminal now, and double-click on the folder, and next thing you're going to want to do is click on start.bat. So this will run a few things. Just let it go on. It'll create something called a venv, and it'll just take a little bit. Okay, and since we're on Windows, on this prompt, you're just going to want to select A and hit enter. This will fetch a bunch of dependencies to set up Tabby API. It'll run a few commands, but it'll take a long time, so I recommend getting a cup of coffee and coming back in a bit. Hey everyone, Future Bry here. I'm actually recording this segment because I added a new feature into Tabby, which makes model downloading so much easier. So we're going to pick up from where we left off, and once you see all of this stuff in your terminal, this means that Tabby has been successfully installed. Now, there's one small problem. Oh my god, Bri, I don't have a model. How do I get it on my computer, and how do I use it with Tabby? Well, I'm going to show you how to do that right now. So we're going to close this terminal right here and go to the link in the description that I posted for Hugging Face. Now, other YouTube tutorials might tell you to download a ggweb file, but Tabby actually uses an EXL2 model format. So make sure the EXL2 is located on the end of the model name, like you can see right here, and you're good to go. So to download this, we're going to want to go to Files and Versions, click on the branch dropdown, click on 4.0 BPW, and next thing we're going to want to do is click this copy button and open File Explorer back up. Go to Tabby's models directory and right-click and create a new folder and paste whatever you just copied. Get rid of this turboderp, and we just have the model name as the folder, which is exactly what we want. Now, to actually get the model onto our computer, we're going to want to click the download button for every single one of these files. I'll show you one file just to make it clear. So click on download button, click on the folder and hit save. I'll show you with another file just to hit it home. Make sure you're in that folder and hit save. But downloading every single one of these files can be cumbersome, and it makes a lot of sense as to why. So I'm going to stop this for now and show you a easier way if you are okay with using the terminal. So we're going to want to go back to our file explorer and delete this folder because we don't need it anymore. Go back to TabbyAPI and type in cmd to open up a new command prompt. I'm going to paste in a command, and we're going to go over the anatomy of it quickly. So start.bat invokes the start.bat file. Download is the download subcommand for Tabby. It's inbuilt downloader. Turboderp, this entire thing is the repo name. So you can see right here, we're just taking this and putting it inside our terminal here. And the revision argument is a bit of an interesting one. So as you remember before, I said this was a branch dropdown. Every single entry in here is called a branch. So we're downloading the 4.0 BPW branch. That corresponds with whatever's in the revision. Now, if this branch dropdown only has main, then you don't have to include this flag within, and you could just keep it like so. But right now, I'm just going to download it with the revision, and it'll take a quick second. And once it starts up, like so, you can see that everything is downloading. Now, this means that the model is downloading onto your computer, and now you could get back up, drink that cup of coffee you previously had, and come back when it's done. So now that you've successfully downloaded a model, you'll see this prompt here where you can enter a bunch of text. We're not going to do that, so I'm just going to get rid of that and close this terminal, and I'm going to open Explorer back up. Now, we now need to tell Tabby to load this model on startup. To do so, we're going to go into our models directory, click on the folder name, click rename, and copy that folder name. Okay, now we're going to go back to Tabby API, and we're going to double click on the config.yml to open it. I'm going to open it in Notepad just for simplicity's sake. And we're going to hit Control F and search for the key model_name, which is right here. It should look like this, and you just paste in that name. Now we're going to search for a key called max seek len, and it should look like this. And we're going to enter 4096. This is just safe so that your GPU's VRAM doesn't get completely eaten. And I'm going to close this. I'll explain more of what those options do in a future video. But once you're done, just run start.bat again. It should take a little bit to get everything loaded, but it should show this little log spam here, and drum roll, please. We now have a model successfully loaded on Tabby API, yay! But now there's another question. How in the world do I use this on a front end? Well, I'll show you. Now, a popular way to run models from Tabby API is using something called SillyTavern. So I have it set up here. You can find their documentation. I've linked it in the description, so you can set it up yourself. But for now, we're going to click on API connections, test completion, and we're going to switch this to Tabby API. I already have that set. And we're going to want to go back to our terminal and copy a couple of things. First, we want to copy where this line is, copy that admin key, and paste it into SillyTavern. And next thing you're going to want to do is copy this URL on the bottom here and paste it into SillyTavern. Then click connect, and we have a connection. Now, just to test it, I'm going to type out hello. And as you can see, there's a response, which means the model is working. To make it look like GPT, I'm going to tick this little streaming box and click regenerate. And there we go. It looks like ChatGPT now. So that's it. We got ourselves a front end running with Tabby API. Now that's it. You have Tabby API successfully installed in your system. We are able to run it on a front end, and we were able to make a model work. But thing is, this is a very surface level tutorial on how to get started with Tabby API. As you can see right here in the wiki, there's a ton of stuff you can do with this software. I've been working on it for the past year, and it's a very fleshed out piece of open source tech. So if you do want to learn more, I'll be making subsequent episodes with more information. But for now, I'm going to call it for there. And hopefully you guys did enjoy, and I'll see you in the next episode. Peace.